Hello and welcome to What Lingers, the podcast where we uncover the questions behind people's stories. I'm Christian Figueroa.
And I'm Liz Melchor, and we are the team behind Storytelling Lisboa, where once a month, 10 storytellers get on stage in front of 200 people and tell true and personal stories related to a theme.
It is always a great event, but there is a catch. We always have lingering questions for the storytellers and no format to ask them. Until now.
In this second season of What Lingers, we invite storytellers to revisit and listen back to their original story from that night, and then sit down with us for a conversation to uncover what lingers for us all.
Just a heads up, the recording of the story you will hear comes from the actual stage of Storytelling Lisboa, so the sound might be a little bit fuzzy. So Liz, this episode really makes you wonder if you are a lucky person or not. So tell me, do you think you are a lucky person?
Actually, yeah, I think I'm super lucky. But yeah, today's episode is going to be a little bit different. We had some technical difficulties when we recorded this storyteller. And so we have her here. Hi, Janet.
Hi.
I just wanted to ask you, so you got on stage at Storytelling Lisboa, and what did you ask the audience?
I asked the audience a trivia question. I said, he can't pull a rabbit out of a hat, but this is one of the most famous Laker players. Who is he?
And what was the reaction of the audience?
Nada.
Silent. You got silence.
I was standing on a stage, asked that question, Elizabeth Banks in the corner, and I totally froze. I didn't know the answer. Of course, the answer was a famous Laker player, Magic Johnson. I should have gotten that answer, but it led my story off really good to try and have audience participation.
In Los Angeles, the whole audience would have been like, duh, Magic Johnson. But because you got on the stage in Lisbon, everybody was kind of like looking at you like, what? I don't get it. Maybe luckily for you, even though it's unlucky for the podcast, we don't have that recording of you getting no feedback from the audience. But that is how this story actually begins. Let's linger no longer. Time to meet Janet telling her story on Wrong Directions.
My family was planning to move to Portugal. Did I have enough money to move to Portugal? No. I had to get creative. I had to find ways to make money. One day I'm sitting on my couch. It's the middle of winter. I'm watching The Circle. Do we have any Circle fans? Reality show? I'm losing fans left and right. The Circle is a reality show. It's kind of like Big Brother, but it's like a social media game. Like who can play the best social media game? And I'm like, I can do this. I can totally do this. I can win people over. And so I make a goofy video. I'm like riding my skateboard in my living room, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna be on The Circle. I'm gonna win people over and be social media famous. And so I make this video, and I fill out my application, and I'm like, here's my video. I'm gonna be on The Circle. And then I start looking, and I'm like, okay, let me see what else I could apply for. I'm like, okay, whatever. The Circle's gonna pick me. I'm gonna be chosen for The Circle. And so the next day, The Circle's like, no, we're not really on showing The Circle. You're not funny enough. But I get an email saying, hey, we're casting for a game show in Los Angeles. Would you like to apply to be on a game show? Maybe you're more compatible with game shows. And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, let me try. So I send my reality TV show Circle video to the game show. And for some reason, they like me, this weirdo on a skateboard in her living room for a game show. Makes sense, right? So they give me a call. They're like, we want to do a casting call with you. And I'm like, okay, let's do this. And so I get on a casting call, and they're like, yeah, we really like you. We really like you. Can you do another casting call? Like 12 casting calls later, it feels like. And every single time they're like, we can't promise you're going to be on the game show. We can't promise you're going to win money, but we want to have you for another call. So finally, I received the call that they're like, you know what? We want to do a trial run with you. We want to see how you play the game. So this is how you play the game. The game is called Press Your Luck. I don't know if anyone knows. No whammies, no whammies. Again, losing people. Okay. The concept of the game show is you have a big board of prizes. So you have a big board of prizes, and it goes spin, 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 spin. You say, no whammy, no whammy, no whammy, stop. And it lands on a prize, and you win that prize, and you bank it in your little prize log. If you land on a whammy, you lose everything. So you don't want to get the whammy. So you say, no whammy, no whammy, no whammy. It's like the slogan of the game show. So I'm over here like on a Zoom saying, no whammy, no whammy, no whammy, stop! Like trying to figure out how to play this game over Zoom, like in Los Angeles. And so they're like, yeah, we really like you. We like how you say whammy. And I'm like, cool, thank you. We'd like to bring you to Los Angeles, but just as a reminder, you might not be on the show. And I'm like, okay, you keep telling me this. So the show comes, and we get to do more practice rounds, and the producers come out, and they tell you what to say, and they ask you about your story, and they ask you about your family, and they want to know all the things. And I'm like, okay, this is me. And then the question comes up, they're like, if you could pick a prize between $5,000 and $200,000, what would you pick? And I'm like, I'm getting a hip replacement next year. Do you think that could be a prize? But like hip replacement, American healthcare costs. No, think different things. And I'm like, okay, I've always wanted a hot pink Prius. Can I put that on my list? Yeah, hot pink Prius, yeah, do it. I'm a competitive dragon boater. Can I have a dragon boat? And then, yeah, dragon boat, that's cool. Like, make a story about that. I'm like, okay, but I still don't know if I'm going to be on the show. And they're like, yeah, but we just want to hear your prizes. Come to the day of, they pick me to be on the show. And so, we're at the show. I'm in the middle of the first round of questions. So, they ask you pop culture questions to get these spins for this big board. And if you win in the first round, you go to the second round where you get these personalized prizes like the hot pink Prius. And so we're there. I'm in the first round. The Magic Johnson question comes up. Well, that's a no for Janet. Janet has 0 spins on the big board. But let's roll it. Let's spin it around and everybody else in the contestants can spin on the big board. So I'm just standing there like suffering, thinking about Magic Johnson. How dare you? And the other 2 contestants get to spin on this big board. They're racking up money. And I'm like, fuck, what am I doing here? Like, this is so embarrassing. If this is actually gonna air, I'm so embarrassed to this LA audience that I didn't get the Magic Johnson question right. Magic Johnson will haunt me for the rest of my life. So the second round comes around, and I'm like, okay, I gotta get fucking spins. I gotta get on the big board. And so all of a sudden, my luck turns around and I start answering questions left and right. Sofia Vergara is the answer, Elizabeth Banks. I know it. And she's like, Sophia? Yeah, Sophia's the answer. I rack up points, all that to be said, and we're in it. We're like, okay, I'm in the game. I'm gonna go back to this. I'm gonna get no whammies. So we turn around, it's my turn. Jenna has the least amount of money at $0. So she gets to spin first. Thanks, Elizabeth Banks. Fuck you, Magic Johnson. So I'm on the big board. Spin. Janie doesn't want a whammy was my slogan. Janie doesn't want a whammy. I'm looking. Stop. Okay. $5,000 in my bank. I look to my right. I look to my left. I got a long way to go to beat these people to make it to the second round. Janie doesn't want a whammy. Stop. I land on a fucking car. $45,000 car. Look to my right, look to my left. Okay, I'm doing pretty good. I think I'm in the lead. So, what I get to do now at this point, okay, I'm in the lead. I gamble a little bit. Do I pass my spins or do I not pass my spins? That is the question. I go ahead and pass my remaining spins to the second place person to my left. Okay, spin, no whammy, stop. Okay, $4,000. Okay, she's getting up there. She's getting closer to me, plus an additional spin. All that to be said, if she keeps spinning and doesn't make as much money as me, I win and move to the next round. Okay, I'm going again. She's going again. Spin, stop. Okay, $10,000 and a fucking another spin. Okay, I'm sweating bullets now. Like, okay, she's racking up money, but she has to keep doing spins. If she runs out of spins, I win. Spin, stop. Go to another spin and win $5,000. So now we're like neck and neck. She has like $5,000 underneath me, and I'm like, I'm really sweating now. Like, am I gonna get this? Spin, stop. My eyes are literally closed. I open my eyes. It's a whammy! So, the whammy put her at 0, and I move to the final and second round of the game show. So I get to the second round of the game show. Whammies still exist. You have to do all of your spins in the second round of the game show. Elizabeth Banks goes, We personalize these prizes special for you. And guess what? Your mom and sister get to be on the stage with you too. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so freaking nervous. Like, how do I do this? Let's put her hot Prius up on the board. So they put my hot Prius up on the board. I go, spin, 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 stop. $50,000 is what I stand on, that I land on. Big bucks is what they call it. I land on big bucks. Let's put another personalized prize on the board. A dragon boat. And everybody's like, what's a fucking dragon boat? And I, of course, immediately go, this is a dragon boat, live TV. Spin, 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 stop. Okay, we're good. No whammies, got some more money. I've done all my spins. Haven't won any personalized prizes, but I've done all my spins. I get to choose now. Do I take the money that I won? Do I take that car that I won from the first round? Or do I keep going? Do I keep spinning and risk landing on the whammy? I don't know. I look at my mom and my sister and I'm like, what the fuck do I do? And they're like, go for it! Do it! Do it! And I'm like, okay, yeah, good television. So I go. Well, before you spin, we're gonna put another personalized prize on the board. It's a trip for you and your family of 6 people to go to Italy and Tunisia. Woo! Of course I'm excited. Spin, 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 spin. On my first spin, boom, land on the trip. All that to be said, because I'm running out of time, I do another round and I've won 5 of my different personalized prizes. I win a shit ton of money, and that's why my wrong direction turned to right direction and I live in Portugal now.
Oh my God, Janet, thank you so much for that. It's so exciting to hear your story again. I mean, Liz and I were there listening to your story on stage, and it was so much adrenaline. So before we start, would you mind introducing yourself to the audience listening at home?
Yeah, so my name is Janet. I'm originally from California, and I moved to Portugal 2 years ago, thanks to a game show with my whole family.
Oh my God.
Yeah, my whole family is a bit more stable financially than I was, but the game show helped me out. My whole family consists of my mom, my sister, her husband. She had 2 kids when they moved here. Now they have a Tuga who was born here.
Amazing.
Wait, can you explain for the audience what Tuga means?
Yeah, it's a nickname for someone from Portugal. I think it's an endearing phrase, yes.
I think so.
Yeah, it is. So you're still in Portugal?
Yes, I live out in Carcavelos, Portugal, a little bit out of Lisbon, but I love to come in for storytelling and other events.
That's so cool. I love your story for many reasons, but I don't think I've ever listened to a story at storytelling where the stakes felt so high, because the stakes were literally like monetary, but they also were life-changing in that moment where you were either going to win everything or lose and just have had that hope. And I'm not going to lie, I was like, oh no, any minute she's going to tell us game over. She got nothing. Da, da, da. And so when you actually said you won, I was like on the edge of my seat, and I'm really happy you won, and I'm really happy you're here. And I have lots of questions, but I'm wondering if you can start, because we get to at the end here that your life changed, but where were you exactly? What was going on for you in your life when you got onto the game show?
Yeah, so I actually had just recently learned that I needed to get 2 hip replacements. And so I was really worried financially about that. And I was trying to find joy in little spaces and little moments. So like I said in the story, I was looking at social media. I was watching a lot of reality TV show, trying to find some outlets for my physical and emotional pain. And so watching The Circle made me think like, I need to do something. I need to step out of this box. You only have one life. Let me try out for something, and ended up that the game show was the perfect fit for me. I was living on a college campus as a staff member in Central California. So just like hanging out in the dorm with the freshmen and doing my work day to day, thinking about like, how can my life be a little bit more fun and exciting? Thinking about moving to Portugal, how I could do that. Yeah, that's where I was at that time.
How old were you?
How old was I? I was 33. I was like older, yeah.
You're 33 hanging out with the 20-year-olds.
Yeah, I was in a freshman dorm, so even like 18-year-olds, like hella young.
And then fun stuff.
And speaking about that, would you be open to share a little bit of your diagnosis of what happened, why you needed a hip replacement?
Yeah, so I was born with hip dysplasia and I grew really fast as a kid. Like, I'm not great at meters, but I was 5 feet tall when I was 6 years old. So, born with hip dysplasia, very tall, told I needed a hip replacement like 10 years ago, and finally just became really debilitated with pain and decided this is going to change my life. I really need to do this. And like I said in the story, healthcare is pretty gnarly in the US. So another thinking like, should I do this in Portugal? Should I do this in the US? And I've since had those 2 hip replacements before I moved to Portugal, and my life really has changed because of it. Yeah, it's amazing. So not so juicy, not a big accident or incident, but I feel a lot better and healthy now.
Yeah, actually it is, because I remember when we were listening to your story, it kind of bothered me that you could get anything from the prize, but not like her, like something that you really need, like something that actually changes your life in a physical way. And this is such a paradox of like this capitalist modern of society where you can go on TV and be super happy and win like a prize and a house, but nothing about your body or your mental health or whatever that actually is impactful. So it says a lot about the whole system.
Yes, totally. The producers were really struggling with me. Like, I'm not a big material person and I really couldn't come up with prizes. They really had to push me, like, get creative. Like, you want a year supply at Cheetos or something? I'm like, I just want a hip replacement, please.
Yeah, like that would be the real actual prize. But I also found that really interesting that they needed a story attached to all the prizes. They were using you and constructing a story around you. And I just never, I mean, I watched these game shows, but I never thought it was so constructed in the same way that reality TV is constructed, I guess.
Yeah, they like made me practice my story. Like, remember what your spiel is about this. I mean, they were all true, but they really wanted me to be like spot on with the narrative.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's intense. You got the hip replacement.
Yeah.
Hey, congrats.
I can't imagine like, I mean, I'm sure people do it here in Portugal, but I can't imagine like having a walker on the cobblestone here in Portugal. Having done it here would have been a whole different experience.
Totally. Portugal streets are not safe at all for anyone. Yeah. I have fallen from my bike several times because of the streets with the stones. So also another thing that happened, and this is amazing from storytelling, because we are so international and we are so diverse that sometimes we get lost in translation. And a lot of your story is very American for me. And I was like, I didn't get the name of the game. I have to Google later. And then the whammy thing, I was like, what is a whammy? What the hell is a whammy? And I didn't understand that until this week when I actually did the research for this episode. Yeah, so the people listening at home, and if you are not a native English speaker as myself, a whammy, according to the Oxford languages, is an event with a powerful and unpleasant effect, a blow or an evil or unlucky influence. So that makes more sense in my head, because you don't want a whammy because it's this bad luck that is going to ruin your luck, basically your opportunity of winning. And also, I realized that this game is very, very old. Like, it started in 1983. It's been going on for ages. I guess it's super famous in the States.
I want to say, as an American, whammy, you just taught me something. I didn't know what it just sounds like a word that sounds like a bad thing. And I've never heard of the game show, actually. I actually haven't. It's not so known. Janet, do you think it's a really known one?
So they were famous in the 80s, and then they stopped for a long time and revamped it about 3 years before I was on the show. So in present day, they've had about 7 seasons, so like the last 7 years. But it was much bigger in the 80s. And I watched my dad watch it when I was a kid. So that's the only reason that I knew about it, where he would say, no whammy, no whammy. Like, that's what it's famous for. And to add to the whammy thing, including the definition, they become little characters. So every show, they have different whammy characters, some being more inappropriate than others, that they come and show on the screen during the game show to like say, you failed, like you have a blow, like you said in the definition. Yeah.
Oh my God, TV is such an interesting way of entertaining people. You talk a little bit about how you ended up sending this application to the circle, but do you have any friends or any connections that actually went to reality shows, or it was just like literally you were craving for this joy, a little bit of joy inside of the scenario? Or
Yeah, along with craving like some unique piece of joy. This is really funny. I didn't mention this in my story, but my mom was on a game show and she was pregnant with me. And she won my whole baby set on a game show. It was Scrabble, which is Scrabble for non-Americans is like a word game. And she's really good with words. And then my sister was on a game show too, but she lost everything. Hers was just like, you pick the audience. But in LA, it's a very common thing to like go to TV show tapings kind of thing and be on game shows.
So I guess, yeah, kind of, yeah.
It's a family affair.
It's inherited.
It changed your mom's life and then it changed yours. Okay, so you said you had to audition like 12 times, and I think you were being sarcastic, but it actually sounds like it was a really serious process. And I'm wondering if you can tell us more about that. And then if there were any surprising things, and it sounds like they really produced you.
Yeah, I was definitely like exaggerating to build excitement in the story, but I really wasn't exaggerating that they kept saying, you reach the next phase, you reach the next phase. So one of the first calls was, can she actually do trivia questions? So that made the story that much more hilarious that I couldn't answer the trivia questions at the start, especially one about LA. So it just kept being like, oh, a Zoom practice. Does she have charisma and character? Could she actually play the game? Will she smile on television? And then once they actually chose me, kind of helped me with my story around the personalized prizes in that second part. Yeah, so very produced.
Were they writing for you? I mean, were they creating the story and sort of feeding it back to you, like shaping it?
They told me like, what would you say? And then kind of shaped what I would initially say.
Do you have an example of how they changed something or?
They said the Tunisia and Italy trip. That trip would be to retrace my grandfather's steps in World War II. So they really liked, like also for context, the show is shown across all of America, Middle America, West America, East America. So they really need to pull to all of their audiences. So I think a military pull was a good one for them. So she gets to go retrace. We honor her grandfather in World War II with this trip, kind of play that story up a bit was an example. Yeah.
And you won that trip.
I did.
Do you go to Tunisia and Italy?
Yeah. So we ended up just doing Italy. Tunisia didn't work out. It's funny. I had to work with a travel agency and my travel agent was like so bad.
Oh.
I'll be honest. Like the one that they paired me with was horrible. Hopefully no one listens to this podcast, but we couldn't plan the trip better. So he like couldn't figure out logistics of Tunisia. We ended up just doing 3 weeks in Italy. We started in Palermo and ended in Florence and did stop at World War II points along the way. And I got to go with my whole family. And fun fact, my partner now is Tunisian. So I do have that connection to Tunisia and we'll probably be going there next month, actually.
Whoa. Oh my God.
And a fun fact. Yeah.
That's exciting.
Congratulations.
So I'll end up in Tunisia one day.
Yeah. It sounds like that's inevitable. And then, okay, so you had to work with the travel agent because it's part of your prize, right? I don't know. Actually, I have my own fantasies about being on a game show and like winning or just being on a game show. And I think it'll never actually happen. So I need to know all the details. But were you given a budget and then you had to work within the budget?
So whatever they estimate, there's prize producers. So the prize producers build a pretend trip and then give you an estimate at the show. So they say this show is worth $90,000. I was like, no one is going to spend $90,000 on a 3-week trip. So that was my budget, is whatever they estimate and they put on the show. And then I'm actually taxed on what is actually spent.
Oh, okay.
That was another question I had because you won a significant amount of money. Okay, so you win a $90,000 trip and you are supposedly supposed to pay tax as if it was $90,000. So you could end up paying for your trip, basically.
Correct.
And what happened there?
Again, I hope they're not listening. I did pay taxes on the money that I earned, which was a lot of taxes, but I still was left with some. But I didn't pay taxes on the trip because it happened the year after. And so it just kind of maybe slipped their mind. Again, we're just going to hope no one listens to this podcast. Yeah. And I also wasn't taxed on the trip, but don't worry, federal government. I paid taxes on the rest of it.
Was it a $90,000 trip?
No. I think we spent like less than half. Maybe 30. That sounds so cringy to even say.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Did you stay in the White Lotus Hotel in Palermo?
No. Oh my gosh. That sounds amazing. It was scorching hot in Palermo. It was like 50 degrees.
Oh my God. No, something that, well, people that are not seeing at you, they were not in the audience, but for people listening, Janet has this magnetic energy, like just like the sun irradiating light. And I can understand why you mentioned during your story that I can win people. Like, yeah, of course, I can be at the circle. It's like, I'm going to be amazing. You had all this confidence. And I wonder if you always had this awareness of yourself.
I was really tall at a very young age, which made me different. People noticed me and people like noticed me being different. And so I just adopted wanting to be even weirder and even more different. So I wear a lot of bright colors. I was wearing a chartreuse sweater on the day of the story, started wearing bright clothes, started wearing huge platform shoes to be even taller and weirder. And I think just like exposing myself in that way made me really comfortable in my own skin. And like, I have to do me first, but I'm also a huge empath. So I think being an empath also helps because I try to read people around me and try to connect with like where they're at in the moment too. So I think both kind of go hand in hand, like charisma and empathy. And I was a show choir kid. So as a show choir kid, you kind of got to learn to like woo the audience with your facial expression.
What's a show choir kid?
It's kind of like Glee, but like up a notch.
I love Glee.
know,
Oh my
like-
God. Yes. Hell yes.
Like we had competitions. We had 7 choirs at my high school in Southern California, and we would go compete against bigger, bougier high schools. So like a lot of jazz hands, a lot of smiles and big eyes.
So you're a stage person.
And I'm a Leo rising.
This is what I don't know about this stuff, but Christian knows about Libra risings.
Oh my God. Leo. Yeah.
And then how tall are you?
Again, in centimeters, I think I'm 183 in centimeters.
Like 6'1"?
Yeah.
So being like this person that you are, an empath, a stage person probably, and I totally feel it because I think that since I started hosting Storytelling Lisboa, I got so much extroverted and so much comfortable with being just me and just being goofy. And, you know, like when it goes good, it's amazing. When it goes bad, you just make a dumb thing. I don't know. Do you think this opened doors for you in the past?
Yeah. So working on college campuses, you have to have a lot of challenging and uncomfortable conversations with students. So we talk a lot about sex. We talk a lot about alcohol usage. We talk about drug usage, like really traumatic topics too. And so I have to often do presentations in front of hundreds of students about these really difficult topics. So I think it definitely helped to be like, okay, first and foremost, trigger warning, but also let's have a lot of fun and try and get awkward and comfortable at the same time with each other. I was a house mom for a fraternity. And so that was a small crowd that I had to like talk to. But yeah, I think that helped my career. Definitely. Fun little facts about me.
I like the fun fact. And so was that the first time you'd ever told a story on stage, or like a personal story?
Oh, that's a good question. I did the vagina monologues in college, but that wasn't my own story. That was someone else's story, which feels different, still powerful to tell someone else's story, but so different to do your own. I kind of cringed watching back on it, like to your point, Christian, of how American it felt and how fast I was talking. So it's good for next time, I'll learn from that.
Yeah, you're gonna feel bad that you kind of needed to rush the end of your story just to fit it the 10-minute format that we have on stage in Lisbon. And it kind of made me wonder what was there in your story that you couldn't deliver. Yeah, that's why we're here. That's why we created this podcast.
True. Yeah.
Getting the other questions. Just can you give me a little really quick and fast answer on why dragon boats? How this comes to your life?
I was living in Portland, Oregon, and we have a big river, not as big as the Teju, but a pretty big river. And that's where I first discovered it. It was originally from China. It's a 12-seater boat that sits 2 to a seat, and you paddle one side at a time. So it's like a big canoe. And I did it competitively in Portland. And I love the water. I love ocean sports, and I love team sports too. So yeah, my team needed a new boat. And so I was like, yeah, let's do it. But that was a produced story, by the way. My team did not need a new boat, but I produced that to be like, we need a new boat. kind of thing.
Hold on. And you produced it or the producer told you it? Because actually that's interesting. Like you made it up for the producers so they would actually put it on the board?
Yes, I did that.
So you started to like work the system.
Yes.
Did you get the dragon boat?
I won the dragon boat and I ended up donating it to a youth team. I didn't bring it to Portugal with me.
Actually, my brother also has had a dragon boat career. It was a very short one, I think. And my father has been on a dragon boat, which if you knew my father, that's shocking because not the athlete. So I have a dragon boat connection. And then, okay, but hot pink Prius?
That was really on the board, but I didn't win it. I won a different car. So in the first round, they have random prizes. So I won like Nissan's fancy car is called an Infinity. So I won an Infinity like SUV.
That's probably like that's a good solid car, but not as fun for my imagination as you driving around LA in the hot pink Prius. Then you would really stand out. That's like your bright clothing, but then like on the outside.
Yeah. Yeah. I did, however, get like a specialized license plate. Like in the United States, you can choose what your license plate says. So I got PYL for press your luck with a hand, like I was hitting. And I was like, someone's going to think this acronym means like something inappropriate or like phallic. But no one did. It was cool. So that was my like, okay, let me make this fancy car a little weird.
Okay. There's this other moment that happens in the game show. And it happens for a lot of contestants in the game show. And it's when you get to this thing where it's like the kind of like all or nothing moment, right? Where it's like the stakes really get heightened and you're like, you can either go away with the last prize or just go for it. And then I guess your mom and your sister are there supporting you. Can you just slow down what it feels like to be there and have to make that decision and have the lights and the camera? And yeah, how do you roll the dice the way you did?
My gosh, yeah. So some context too is I had to take like 5 different outfits for them to choose. So they chose my outfits, but they were my own clothes. And I felt like they chose like the warmest clothes ever. Like I had a blazer on and skinny jeans on. So first and foremost, I was sweating before I was even nervous. And then throw the nerves in there, I was that much more sweaty. So I was pacing on the stage, like talking to my mom and sister a lot. My reasoning was, okay, I haven't had a whammy this entire game. Let me try one more time to see what's going to happen. It's only 3 spins. I can do it. And then that second round after I won the prize, I was like, okay, let me think about this. I've won a lot of prizes. I've won a huge trip. Like, you're going to push it a little too much. You're going to push your luck, not press your luck going forward. So I was like, I got to be grateful for all the things that I've already been given and not push this too much.
Oh, wait, so you could have pushed it even more?
I could have. Yeah, one more round.
So you pushed it and you also then like pulled yourself back at a certain point and decided to be more sensible.
I did, because if your bank hit $500,000, they would automatically bump it up to $1 million. So that's how they incentivize you to keep going. And so I was really close. Total in my bank was like 323 or something, like including all the prizes and money. And I was like, gosh, I could be a millionaire. But I was like, no, I need to be grateful for what's in the bucket right now.
Oh my God.
Totally. And it was life-changing money.
Yeah. And the producers, they ask you to practice that too. They ask, how would you decide? Would you keep going or would you stay? And I feel the host was kind of eyeing me like, honey, please take this. You're in a really good spot. Don't make a bad decision.
Yeah, also because I feel like these games are made to not let you win until the end. I actually was Googling like the name of the game, and so there was a scandal of this guy in 1984 he got the system, the lighting system, and he actually win, and it was such a scandal because people thought he was cheating. And I guess up until today, people doesn't know if he was cheating or not. But that made me think that the game is made for you not to get millionaire. So I think that was, of course, an obvious and a wise reaction from you. So congratulations. So you got the money, you got everything. What happened next? What was like, I don't know, between the contest and moving to Portugal?
So that must have been May of 2022. And I moved in May of 2023. So almost 3 years ago. Immediately after the game, they push you to the back. You have to like sign all these contracts and decide what prizes you want to keep. You don't have to keep all of the prizes. So I won a lot of little things I didn't share in the story, like a grandfather clock, a kegerator, human-sized chess set, like all these random prizes. I was like, no, thank you. I don't want to pay taxes on that. Yeah. So immediately after, it was like logistical. And then after that, it's like, okay, in the next 6 months, when I get this money, like I'm going to be good. Let's start our visa process. So my family moved 6 months. Well, my sister and her family moved 6 months before my mom and I moved, and I could prove I had money to move to Portugal.
So cool that I gave that financial security. And so it was live, right? Live television?
They only did one take.
Okay. So did you watch it? Did you have a watch party? How was it to watch it on television?
It was so weird. Yeah, I had a watch party at a local restaurant and we got the whole restaurant to ourselves. I brought friends and students to come watch it. It was actually, the show aired right after my first hip replacement. So I was on a walker. So it was kind of funny. All the pictures, I have my walker, but I was happy. I was comfortable. So my Dragon Boat friends were there, teammates, students, friends. And we just sat there and watched it. And I wasn't allowed to tell anybody what happened. My mom and sister obviously knew, but I'm like, you just got to watch it, which is really hard to do, to like not tell people. So they were shocked because you're watching the beginning of the show and I have $0. They're like, she's going to do awful. But I ended up winning the whole thing.
Oh my God.
Was that it? Okay, because that's crazy. Because it's basically like me watching you tell the story on stage. I felt so much nerves. I can't even imagine all your friends watching it. And then you are in the room and you know you win. It's so surreal. And NDAs and not being able to tell people, I don't think I could do that. Like, I'm not sure I could manage that. I would like be winking at people. I'd be like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I lost, I don't know.
I was like side-eyeing people, like waiting for the reaction because I was anticipating what was happening next.
Wow.
That's amazing. And well, I'm going to bring this more conservative tone to the conversation, but I'm wondering now, because we've been speaking about many amazing things that happened to you because of this game, but have you ever had negative or not that positive experience because of it? Maybe you lost some friends or people got jealous or family wanting money from you and you were like, no, because we hear stories, right? And money is, of course, help us a lot, but also is not the answer for happiness. So just for being a little bit of reality check with people in regard to money and this fast money that comes from heaven. It changed your life for the good, but also can change your life for the other side.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I am actually estranged from my father. And he, like I mentioned earlier, he watched the show in the 80s. So I was like, oh my gosh, what if he sees me on television and he hasn't seen me since I was 18 years old? Is he going to reach out and say, like, give me money? I was really scared of that. And it's funny because not too long after the show, he did reach out with like my old number, but he didn't mention the show. So I was like, this can't be coincidence. Like he must have thought of me or saw me or heard something, but he didn't ask for money. He was just checking in kind of like, which is really weird. So fortunately, other than that, I haven't had any bad luck or any bad things to it. Like I won a lot of money, but especially on top of paying taxes, like not enough to spread wide for a lot of people, but a lot of money for me nonetheless. Yeah. And I forgot to mention too, is I got a tattoo of the game show logo on my arm. So that's a fun thing. Fun random fact.
Oh, and did you get the tattoo because like it was life-changing or?
Yes, I did. I have a bunch of random tattoos and I was like, why not just add this to my story of life as well?
It is such a good story, right?
Oh, Janet, well, listen to all of this story and of course your history with Portugal and the game. Do you believe in luck today?
I absolutely do believe in luck. That really showed me that I don't consider myself a lucky person for many years. Before that, like I broke a mirror when I was in 7th grade. And so I believed in bad luck too. Well, what is it? 8 years of bad luck is the saying. But my life really turned around. I feel like after my hip replacement, after the game, I felt very lucky person. Yeah. So I do believe in luck.
I also feel like that's interesting too, right? Like it's like believe in luck and then it might just change how you view your whole life. And it's like a bit confirmation bias, but also, yeah, you go through periods and you had real significant measurable luck.
True. And about luck, that there's something maybe going on with your family that brings this energy of attracting good things to you because the way you are, because the way your mom was. Because your mom also won this contest and this TV show that gave you all these things. So maybe I'm pushing my spiritual side, but there's a connection there in all of these perks and beautiful things that happen to your family.
And I'll push my spiritual side. Like my grandparents have passed away like many years ago, and they were definitely there that day. So I was definitely speaking to them during that journey too. So they give me luck too.
So we just have one final question for today. And thank you so much for sharing this. How has it been for you revisiting your story today?
It was scary at first, but so fun towards the middle and end, like watching yourself tell a story, and especially your first story can be shocking and embarrassing and even cringy, but then it's so nice and so important to do that type of reflection. So I appreciate having space to do that reflection in a guided way. So thanks, y'all.
I feel like we need to end the episode on like no whammies, no whammies, no whammies all together. No whammies.
Oh my God, no whammies for sure.
No whammies for Janny for the rest of her life.
That's it for this episode of What Lingers.
Please make sure you subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And also follow us on Instagram at Storytelling Lisboa to keep up to date.
What Lingers is a podcast from the team behind Storytelling Lisboa and is produced by Johnny Bunyan. He's amazing.
Thank you so much for listening, and join us again for another edition of What Lingers.
See you next week.